Hey there, fellow wanderers. Tonight, we delve into a world where childbirth wasn't just miraculous, it was miraculous if you lived through it at all. Picture narrow dirt roads winding through medieval villages. The scent of wood smoke thick in the air, the distant clatter of hooves echoing off cobblestones. Stone houses slump under thatched roofs, looking just as tired as the women inside them. Life pulses in quiet hardship. Church bells ring, keeping ritual in rhythm, but offering no guarantees. Giving birth in this era, it's like standing at a medieval crossroad. One path to a child's cry, the other to silence. This isn't fantasy, this is history. And no, you probably wouldn't survive it. If stories like this resonate, like the video, subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Dim the lights. Let the fan hum. Let's step softly into a world where breath itself was never promised. Let's begin. In the medieval landscape, childbirth isn't just a personal experience, it's a communal event imbued with both intense preparation and gripping uncertainty. As you walk to the centre of the village, listen to the wise whispers of women gathering in anticipation, some offering herbal remedies, others prayers. It's an unspoken understanding. These gatherings are vital, a sanctuary where women can offer solace and hands-on support. The rhythmic chants of the village women blend into the background, punctuating the air with hope, sometimes blending with the nervous braying of livestock tucked away in nearby barns. The setting is rich with textures. Mothers-to-be pressing their hands anxiously upon prayer beads, the rough-hewn timber walls of cottages gently enclosing them, a stark reminder of how close birth and death dwell. You look around and see that childbirth isn't just a woman's burden. It's deeply woven into the fabric of medieval society. Everyone plays a part, from the respected midwife to the youngest daughter fetching water or tending the fire to keep the room warm. Consider the backdrop of a sprawling medieval manor or a modest peasant's hut, where the air is sweet with the earthiness of herbs simmering in a pot. The priority is clear. Ward off evil spirits and protect both mother and child from the ominous grip of mortality. For all the joy that a new life brings, the fear is an ever-present shadow. Women understand the raw deal of birth, an unpredictable twist of nature's whimsy that can unleash both beauty and peril. You're probably wondering what on earth these people did to prepare without our modern conveniences. Well, they relied on relentless tradition, crafting birthing rooms into sacred spaces. The beds, often draped in linens believed to ward off misfortune, become symbolic battlefields. Laid to rest could be soft bundles of soaking cloths alongside bowls of warm water, awaiting the miracles or tragedies that might unfold. The scene is delicate, almost like theatre, a story perpetuated through oral traditions and learned experiences. They say you learn a lot about a culture by examining its worst fears and greatest hopes. Childbirth embodies this perfectly. Though risk looms large, the support of a tight-knit community tries to tip the scales. It's like being swept up in a medieval tapestry that dances through village life, vibrant, chaotic, and teetering on the edge of the known and the unknown. The village lingers under the watchful eyes of an austere church, casting shadows long and unwavering. The omnipresence of religion is palpable, gently dictating the cadence of everyday life and rituals, including childbirth. It paints an invisible line of discipline and relief, a wild card, hoping divine intervention will play its part. But even churches can't purify all fear. This precise blend of ecclesiastical authority and crippling superstitions upheld often complicated understanding rather than clarifying it. Though women sought the church's blessing, they sometimes also employed charms or amulets, just in case. After all, when you're standing at the threshold of life and potential death, you'll take every edge you can get. Imagine trudging through a world painted in muted browns and greys, with occasional bursts of colour, a small candle flickering valiantly against the encroaching night's darkness. You are not just a spectator, but part of the mosaic threads, standing with medieval women as they carry legacies on their shoulders. In this time, childbirth is a communal equation of love, fear and hope, written across the ages, with fortitude beyond measure. Now, the scene might be calming, might be humbling, or perhaps it piques your curiosity into a world where what we take for granted was unfathomable. Take this woven narrative of bygone struggles as a testament to historical resilience, reminding us just how much we've grown and how much we owe to those who paved the daunting path of childbirth through the unforgiving corridors of history. In the heart of the medieval village, where cobblestones weave beneath your feet, you find the custodians of birth, the midwives. With gentle hands and a repertoire of age-old wisdom, these women navigate the waters of life and death with astonishing skill and compassion. As you join them in a modest dwelling, the walls echo with tales of past generations, their presence a comforting lullaby. The midwife, an archetypal figure within the village, often arrives carrying a basket filled with tools and potions, each carefully chosen for their supposed prowess in ensuring a safe delivery. You can almost hear the soft clinking of glass-bangled containers as they nestle together amongst bundles of dried herbs. Within the folds of her woolen cloak, she conceals not just the instruments of her trade, but also centuries of collective knowledge, passed down through whispered secrets and shared stories. Of course, no two midwives wield identical arsenals. Some call upon simple lengths of linen for binding and support, while others rely on more peculiar items, such as a carved wooden spoon or an iron knife, thought to ward off evil spirits. These women are the architects of birth, sculpting a delicate balance between the earthly and the ethereal. Historians still argue whether the presence of such metal artifacts truly stemmed from superstition or served a practical role in ritualistic protection. Midwives hold a delicate social position, towing the line between revered and misunderstood. They operate at the edge of medical understanding, balancing community expectations with the mysterious skewed practices often termed witchcraft by those who fear what they cannot comprehend. Yet despite whispers, they remain invaluable, contributing to a sphere where hope often binds hearts in solidarity against the harrowing journey of childbirth. Close your eyes and picture a medieval midwife's hands, stained with the mellow hues of herb tinctures. With a profound sense of calm, she prepares her concoctions, each potion an alchemic gamble between nature and nurture. The pungent aroma of rosemary mingles with the more floral notes of lavender, an attempt to soothe an expectant mother's frayed nerves. Mixing together plant life's essence, she embodies a union of science and intuition. And as you stand in the shadows, observing her whispered incantations, you witness simple ingenuities, such as wrapping cloth soaked in warm, calming tea around a labouring mother's belly. It is with gestures like these that a midwife bears her true strength, the ability to heal not only through her hands, but through the comfort of her presence. A midwife's journey does not end with the birth itself. Her vigilance stretches into the days and weeks after delivery, tending bittersweet stitches of motherhood's newest tapestry. She checks on the newborn, monitoring the baby's ruddy cheeks, ensuring each cry is robust and full-bodied. A careful vigil over the maternal vessel, she ushers healing through nutritious broths and suggested rest advice that warms and sustains like sunlight on a frigid morning. Of course, there were quirks among these fair ladies of labour. Certain midwives might have kept a small tally of births, marking them with symbols or simple lines on bits of parchment. A curiosity for future generations to puzzle over. Those adept with such records would praise life's miracles with tales over candlelit nights, or sometimes weave stories of sadness when fortune took a darker turn. From the outside looking in, midwifery appears almost mischievously magical. In reality, these women were grounded in the rediscovery of life, interceding in nature's most miraculous process with human understanding and empathy. Through the bramble of doubt and uncertainty, a midwife illuminated wild paths with knowledge steeped in practicality and laden with courage. As you admire the dedicated lives of midwives, it becomes evident that, despite the steep odds, childbirth under their guidance transformed from terrifying trial to revered rite of passage. Each birth became a score in a symphony of breath, a testament to survival, renewal, and connection in a world both perilous and poetic. Stepping back into modern times, you might find homespun echoes of these ancient customs. When you consider herbal remedies like chamomile or lavender, remember they trace their lineage from medieval roots. Isn't it curious how history often loops, bringing us back to the wisdom of ages past? As we move forward in our journey, remember the midwife's tale, where laughter broke like dawn after a night's labour, with each new life imprinted upon the heart of the village like silent promises sewn into delicate fabric. Whether insightful or slightly eccentric, their legacies linger in the quiet hollows of history, where every breath could be the last. and every birth a fresh start. Imagine stepping into a dimly lit room where the air is thick with anticipation. This is the birthing chamber, the stage set for a play whose script is part inheritance, part innovation. As you look around, your eyes are drawn to the oddly fascinating array of tools that lie in waiting. These are the instruments that midwives and healers wield, extensions of their knowledge and intuition, as alien to our modern eyes as they are indispensable to the task at hand. The first tool you notice is a simple, well-worn leather strap, its edges softened with age. This may be wrapped around a mother's waist to provide support, or used to help shift the baby's position. It's a straightforward innovation, revealing how medieval people used what was available to them to solve challenges. Nearby, a wooden spoon and an iron knife catch your eye, not meant for the cooking pot, but believed to ward off evil spirits and ensure a safe delivery. Such tools straddle the line between practicality and superstition, reflective of a time when earthly practices were interwoven with spiritual beliefs. Historians still argue whether many of these objects served any real function in birth, or whether their power lay purely in the realm of faith and comfort. Some tools appear more intimidating, such as a pair of iron forceps. These cumbersome devices are meticulously crafted, designed with an intricate understanding, or sometimes brutal miscalculation of anatomy, aimed at assisting difficult births. In kinder hands, they embody assistance. In lesser hands, they may be an instrument of desperation in a high-stakes endeavour. The forceps' cold sheen serves as a stark reminder of the era's trial-and-error approaches, hinting at the precariousness of intervening in the natural process. A more curious-looking item is the birthing girdle, a humble piece of cloth, yet potent in its symbolism and application. It could be worn by the expectant mother as a source of comfort, or inscribed with holy texts and prayers for protection, binding her with safety both literal and spiritual. The notion was that such garments, like talismans, formed a barrier against the capriciousness of childbirth. Near the window, sunlight flickers over vials filled with tinctures and powders. These are concoctions designed with as much alchemy as anatomy, a striving towards healing with ingredients that often walk the line between remedy and poison. A pinch of one substance might soothe pain, while just a touch more could invite danger. To know these distinctions marks the difference between life and loss, marking the hands that hold them as both compassionate and courageous. The tools are not solely for birth. They also accompany the midwife during postnatal visits to support recovery, delicate roles rarely spoken of beyond whispers among the initiated. Cotton swabs might be used to apply salves or medicinal balms to prevent infection, showcasing an early understanding of care that predates our sterile standards. Each item tells stories, inviting you to imagine their use amidst the murmurs and maternal warmth of a post-birth room. As you linger, you might wonder about the emotional resonance such implements possess. Where does comfort end and ritual begin? A mother's grateful caress of a wooden spindle, once part of an archaic ergot preparation for breaking fevers, feels both archaic and familiar. For all the fear enmeshed in the journey of birth, these tools symbolize certainty, a courageous harnessing of chaos through human ingenuity and instinct. Despite their sometimes crude appearance, this medieval toolkit shines as a testament to resilience. Modern advancements owe volumes to these rudimentary yet effective instruments. Remembering these origins can spark a sense of gratitude and awe at the historical trajectory that brings us to contemporary maternity care. Within these relics lies evidence of the beautifully tangled dance between necessity and hope, science and sorcery, as our ancestors faced childbirth with all its fears and triumphs. As the sun sets, casting long shadows over these objects, you pause, acknowledging the courage imbued in each tool, each hand that wielded them, and the myriad lives they have touched. It's as if they whisper stories of survival into the quietness, illuminating paths from the past, etched in iron and wood, faith and resilience. The artifacts stand as silent witnesses, echoing with the latent hush of accomplishment and the enduring quest of medieval women to survive childbirth against all odds. As you settle into this next chapter of our journey, let your senses steep in the earthy aroma of medieval herbal lore. Welcome to an era where the medicinal properties of plants were both revered and feared, a delicate brew of wisdom distilled through generations. Picture yourself walking through a vibrant marketplace where stalls overflow with bundles of dried herbs, their colours ranging from deep greens to sun-bleached yellows. This is a universe where nature's apothecary plays a crucial role in the theatre of childbirth. Medieval women often relied on an impressive constellation of herbal remedies during pregnancy and childbirth. Step closer, and you'll find dried chamomile blossoms, their pungent fragrance mingling with the sweet grassy scent of lemon balm. Just imagine a steaming cup of these herbs, brewed to calm nerves and soothe an expectant mother. Such simple remedies were believed to offer physical comfort and emotional support, building a bridge between the tumultuous waves of labour and the gentle surges of nature's embrace. Nearby, a pouch of yarrow catches your eye. This humble plant, with its feathery leaves, was often employed to staunch bleeding due to its astringent qualities. In a time without the convenience of modern medicine, it's no wonder yarrow was a staple in the childbirth arsenal. The wisdom behind this choice speaks volumes about the medieval understanding of nature's healing potential, bridging gaps that modern science would only quantify centuries later. Yet not all herbal remedies were benign. A bottle labelled pennyroyal exudes a sharp, almost minty aroma. Known for its potent properties, pennyroyal was used to stimulate uterine contractions. But it sat on a razor-thin line between helpful and hazardous. Too much could push a woman into a cycle of unexpected symptoms, and the margin for error made its use a risky endeavour. Historians still debate whether reliance on such plants was a measure of last resort or established faith in their potency. As you wade deeper through the market, your attention is captured by mandrake roots, gnarled and twisted forms that resemble miniature human figures. These roots were laden with mythological significance and were believed to possess mystical powers capable of inducing sleep or easing pain. Despite their reputation, they held an alluring charm that promised relief, albeit accompanied by an element of danger. They became as much a talisman of folklore as a medicament. In this mix of practical and mystical, a flask of poppy juice occupies a prominent place. Derived from the poppy plant, this potent preparation offered much-needed relief from the crushing pain of labour, whispering of the first inklings of anesthesia. While its use was sparing and laden with caution, it underlined a compelling intersection between comfort and constraint. As you stand amidst this array, a conversation brews among villagers, the tenor of which is both familiar and foreign. Discussions flicker like candlelight about the best remedies for easing labour or warding off infection, weaving a tapestry of communal wisdom. In this setting, herbs are more than cures, they are gentle guides through the labyrinth of childbirth. Each remedy a story rooted in the soil of shared experience. The intriguing blend of herbal lore and childbirth was not isolated to the sloping hillsides of rural domains. In the crowded confines of political courts and noble homes, herbalists were held in tentative regard, straddling domains deemed either miraculous or sinister. Herbs tied these environments with an invisible thread, a shared language of survival and continuity. In a society that feared what it couldn't control, these remedies were a calculated attempt to sway nature's unpredictable balance. Peering through time, we see how today's medical advancements owe much to these trials and errors, steeped in the earth's offerings. When you next brew a calming chamomile tea or feel peppermint's cool touch, perhaps you'll whisper thanks to the medieval women and herbalists who navigated such uncertain grounds with courage and resourcefulness. The herbal legacy endures, a fragrant testament to resilience and the quest for life amidst the pressing odds. Here, let the whispers of these ancient herbs calm the noise of the modern world. They invite you to carry their story forward, marvelling at how strands of history weave a stronger fabric of knowledge we reliably depend on today. And just like the gentle wafting scents of rosemary and thyme, much of this wisdom still threads through time, binding us to the resilience that defined an era where nature's bounty was a lifeline amidst childbirth's daunting prospects. In this age of dimly lit abbeys and towering cathedrals casting long shadows over ancient cobblestone streets, you find yourself face to face with an omnipresent force that shapes every facet of life: the Church. Its influence looms large, weaving its way into the very fabric of childbirth. Intertwining spirituality with the harsh realities of medieval maternity, you might imagine church bells tolling as you step into a cool stone chapel, where flickering candlelight dances upon the walls, embodying the delicate balance between divine protection and human fear. The Church's influence on childbirth, much like everything else during the medieval period, is both pervasive and deeply complex. It isn't just about formal rituals or doctrines, it's a tapestry of beliefs and moral guidelines that impact how childbirth is perceived and practiced. The Church often dictates the terms of care and the moral compass by which individuals measure their actions, casting a divine net that reaches into every village and manor across the land. You find yourself in a bustling village square, eavesdropping on the whispers of midwives huddled in quiet conversation. Their exchanges carry the weight of cautious wisdom. The Church, while providing solace and sanctuary, can also be a source of tension. Women speak of priests who bless the labouring mother and child, a tradition tied to the sacred hope that the Almighty will find favour upon her endeavours. In this world, where faith holds sway over understanding, such blessings offer reassurance, a divine nod that tilts fate ever so slightly in favour of life over death. But what happens when things go wrong? Here, the Church plays a double-edged role, providing comfort while enforcing strict codes around sin and morality. There's an underlying tension, as women face the potential judgment of a society governed by religious doctrine. Unbaptized infants, whose entry to heaven is questioned, and mothers who may face scrutiny if accusations of sorcery arise. These are fears born from the union of faith and fear. In an era steeped in superstition, even a midwife's beneficial herbs could be misunderstood as witchcraft, even if wrapped in prayer. Historians still argue whether this ecclesiastical influence hampered more than it helped. As you wander further, the tapestry grows richer with the interwoven threads of tradition and superstition. The Church encourages the lighting of candles during childbirth, symbolic beacons meant to guide the soul into the world, illuminating pathways where shadows might encroach. These small gestures, flickers of heat and hope, are reminders that faith, light and love go hand in hand, offering a kind of nurturing unknown amidst life's struggles. But the Church's dominion extends beyond implements and rituals. Its say in moral behaviour influences societal attitudes, coupling childbirth with a woman's modesty and a moral purity that dictates how she should conduct herself. While women are revered for bringing forth life, they are also cautioned against hubris, against forgetting the Church's role in their safe delivery. For a society entrenched in religious morals, childbirth is a communal act of worship, creation intersecting canon. In noble circles, you watch as expectant mothers prepare spiritually as much as physically, with confession and penance paving the way for their birthing chamber. The sway of religious doctrine is potent, stretching beyond the walls of manors and peasant hovels alike to shape expectations and experiences in childbirth. Even the whispered prayers of midwives, as they gently cradle their small charges, are testimonies to the era's profound faith, weaving halos around kitchen pots and bedside cradles. Despite the Church's pervasive presence and its sometimes harsh judgments, faith offers a vital sense of stability and comfort in uncertain times. Your journey through dim churches and vibrant countrysides reveals the multifaceted relationship medieval women maintained with religion, a bond steeped in both reverence and resilience. And so, while sambalences at the threshold of life can sometimes darken with judgment and whisperings of sin, the Church remains a place of comfort, redemption, illuminating life's path through a crucible of light and shadow. Stepping back from these flickering shadows, you feel an appreciation for the complex influence of the Church on medieval childbirth practices, a testament to the confluence of faith, moral guidance, and human survival. As much as these practices might confound a modern observer, they are essential to understanding the labyrinthine interplay of belief and survival in a world where childbirth teeters between hope and divine grace. In the bustling tapestry of medieval society, the threads of wealth and status weave through every facet of life, including the pivotal experience of childbirth. As you stand amidst this intricate social structure, it's clear that the birthing experience varies dramatically based on one's place within this hierarchy. Imagine the opulent chambers of a noblewoman, cushioned in relative comfort, juxtaposed against the humble, rustic settings of peasant women. A stark reminder of how class and economic standing shape this universal event. Step into the grand halls of a noble estate, where every corner effuses wealth. Large tapestries hang from stone walls, intricate designs telling stories of valour and heritage. The birthing chamber, well appointed and warm, cradles luxury. You find a host of attendants bustling about, ensuring that the grand lady receives the utmost care. In one corner, a skilled midwife, such as the village's most experienced, hones her focus on ensuring the smoothest possible delivery. Her tools, reflecting meticulous craftsmanship, are laid out with precision, each representing a small victory over the struggles faced during a typical birth. In this upper echelon of society, the allure of rare and exotic remedies is almost palpable. Stroll through the room and you'll encounter peculiar spices and fine silks, the offerings of trade routes and merchant exploits. A silver vessel might rest on a table, its contents unknown, yet hinted to come from a far-off land where mysterious practices yield results worth trying. These elixirs and substances, whether effective or for show, are as much about demonstrating status as they are about the hope they promise. As a noblewoman moves through childbirth, her extended family waits in anticipation, poised for celebrations that reflect social prestige. Success here means not only the safe delivery of a child, but also maintaining the family lineage and securing political alliances. The birth of an heir is more than a personal event. It is an echo that reverberates through the social corridors of power. In contrast, journey to a village cottage where life unfolds with humbler means. Enter the home of a peasant woman navigating childbirth amidst rough-hewn beams and clay floors. The warmth is drawn from a modest fire, the room's simplicity enfolding its occupants in necessity rather than luxury. There are no imported spices here, no ornate vessels, just the bare necessities, cobbled together from local remedies and communal wisdom. Each bundle of herbs tells a tale of survival, equipped with the virtues of proximity and tradition. The peasant's birthing room is less crowded, yet filled with the equally potent, rich presence of familiar faces. Neighbours and family members lend their hands and hearts, their presence a balm against the chaos of childbirth. A local midwife, perhaps more accustomed to birth in its rawest form, draws upon herbal knowledge and personal experience in guiding the process. The communal effort is woven with threads of kinship and resilience, a tapestry that stands as a testament to survival in the face of adversity. Regardless of wealth, childbirth is a great equalizer. The experience, though varied by social strata, remains fraught with uncertainties across the board. Even the wealth of a noble estate cannot wholly insulate its residents from the whims of nature or the divine. Likewise, even in the most modest of settings, birth becomes an event of profound communal significance, offering a shared narrative of resilience, hope, and continuity. The interplay between privilege and perseverance shapes the narratives of medieval maternity, creating a mesmerizing kaleidoscope of human experience. You can't help but marvel at how these women, separated by wealth yet united by their shared fate, weave their own legacies amidst the backdrop of class and circumstance. Through your path today, ponder the ways in which wealth and status have coloured these medieval experiences, and how survival often hinged on more than just resources. Resilience, community, and courage too were critical. Reflect on how history's classes collectively illuminate the relentless human spirit in pursuit of life, a testament to the shared struggle of bringing forth the next generation under the watchful gaze of fate's formidable hand. And while the players and accoutrements differ, the fundamental essence of childbirth threads through each story, softly binding the medieval tapestry together. In this dance of life, the echoes of these past lives resonate, their whispers cresting through time, bearing witness to the rich and varied stories of how women survived childbirth in these tapestry times. In the heart of medieval life, where the veil between the known and the mystical is tantalizingly thin, childbirth comes enshrined with a suite of superstitions and rituals. As you wander through the quaint village streets, you find that these practices are as much a part of the birthing experience as the midwives and herbal remedies. They form an unseen thread linking generations, a reflection of human desire to control what often feels uncontrollable. Step into one such humble abode where a labouring woman sits illuminated by the warm glow of candlelight. Around her gather women from the community, familiar faces etched with anticipation. Hushed whispers fill the air, prayers mingling with chants believed to ward off malevolent spirits. The room is a patchwork of old beliefs and maternal vigilance, each element poised to tip the scales towards safe delivery. A common item in this tapestry is the charm, worn to protect mother and child from the lurking dangers of the unknown. These trinkets might be fashioned from simple metal or wood, engraved with sacred symbols or infused with herbs believed to hold protective powers. Holding one, you can almost feel the collective hopes and fears imbued into its form. whispering of an eternal dance between faith and uncertainty. You'll notice that various objects are placed around the room with precise intention. A broom might rest near the door, its bristles pointing outward, thought to sweep away evil influences that threaten both birth and fortune. Above the hearth, you spot a garland woven from yew and vervain, a tribute to ancient rites meant to invoke blessings and safeguard against even the most tenacious misfortune. Such rituals paint a vivid picture of a society dedicated to controlling its destiny, no matter how elusive that control might be. Superstition and science occupy the same space here, and just as science sometimes lends credence to old beliefs, it occasionally proves them unfounded. However, when the risk of childbirth hangs in the balance, every small assurance counts, whether bound by logic or legacy. Historians still argue whether these rituals impacted outcomes directly or served mainly to comfort those involved, providing a semblance of agency in a perilous game of chance. Further rooted in tradition is the act of soaking a piece of bread in the broth of a meat stew, believed to ease labour pains. The idea is that consuming such a fare binds the magical properties of sustenance and strength, ensuring fortitude in the face of trials. As you visualize this, your senses are filled with the rich aroma of simmering meats and herbs, a rustic concoction brewed with hope and tenacity. Within a village church, the baptismal font stands ready, a potent symbol of protection and spiritual safety. The community's faith often dictates that newborns be baptized swiftly, ensuring their place within both the church and the embrace of divine guardianship. This act of baptism carries an urgency. A breath almost held until the sacred water's touch confirms a new soul firmly within the fold of grace. Not all customs are purely ritualistic. Some have practical elements, like the ancient practice of lighting fires both for warmth and to ward off illness. The communal act of gathering around a hearth, enveloping mother and newborn in shared heat, acts as both safeguard and symbol of unity. This practice underscores the understanding that together, as a community, they can face down the shadows of mortality. Reflect for a moment on the beautiful absurdity of a culture where every object and action holds potential significance, where even the mundane might cradle the extraordinary. These practices, however peculiar, stitch colourful threads through a patchwork quilt of beliefs, sewing each birth into a rich history of shared understanding and resilience. As you traverse this storied landscape of superstitions and rituals, allow yourself to feel the quiet urgency of the medieval worldview. These customs stand as testament to mankind's timeless struggle to influence fate, a legacy of whispers and heartbeats echoing through the corridors of time. Here in this realm, the lines between reality and imagination blur, crafting a palimpsest of hope and heritage that embodies the tenacity of survival. And in this mesh of belief systems, the stories of childbirth continue to unfold, revealing layers of societal understanding that highlight the courage, dedication, and unwavering desire to protect and nurture life. In an era balanced perilously between what is known and what is dreamt, as you journey deeper into the medieval landscape, the quiet sanctuaries of stone and parchment come into focus. Here, the scholarly minds of the age, such as they were, penned medical texts that provide a fascinating glimpse into the understanding of childbirth. Imagine yourself seated in a drafty scriptorium, where monks labour in dim light to copy medical treatises, their quills scratching over parchment as they catalogue the esoteric blend of science, superstition, and tradition shaping the medieval conception of childbirth. The walls are lined with ancient tomes and scrolls, repositories of knowledge both revered and feared. They are adorned with script both meticulous and ornate, interspersed with the occasional whimsical illumination that transforms a letter T into a dragon or a fox. These texts form a tapestry of medieval medicine, where observation and mystery intertwine seamlessly. You might recall that iconic textbook of the period, Trottula's De Passionibus Mulierum, which serves as a cornerstone for women's health during this era. Within these pages lies a compendium of remedies and insights, mirroring the societal desire to decode and master the mysteries of female anatomy. A quill traces the familiar lines detailing the stages of labour, or the nuanced instructions for preparing herbal solutions intended to soothe discomfort or induce labour. The scent of ink and vellum hangs in the air, a testament to the tireless efforts of scribes who commit their knowledge to memory through the tip of a feather, creating a framework for understanding what is both intimate and universal. The medical texts offer more than recipes. They reflect the peculiar mélange of science and superstitions that defined the era. For instance, They contain advice on regulating a pregnant woman's diet to influence the baby's size and health, suggesting meals that include barley and chicken broth. While such suggestions might seem quaint today, they underscore the foundational belief that diet plays a crucial role in both maternal and fetal well-being, a principle that continues to resonate in modern times. One can't ignore the peculiar recommendations alongside practical remedies, such as placing coral amulets in the birthing chamber to avert malevolent spirits. Scholars still ponder whether these suggestions hold roots in genuine belief or serve as acknowledgements of cultural practices. The aura surrounding childbirth exudes the complexities of a time when every precaution counts, and the boundaries between spiritual and physical care blur. As you turn the pages, you find examples of surgical diagrams nestled among the annotated text, providing insights into more invasive practices. These include rudimentary attempts at caesarean sections, often recorded with grim outcomes for mothers, but occasionally offering a last resort chance for a child. The diagrams attempt to demystify what must have seemed unfathomable, a brave exploration into the human form that blends artistry with hard reality. The text occasionally digresses into discussions on astrological influences, suggesting the stars play their part in determining a child's fate. While modern minds may chuckle at such notions, they highlight the medieval quest to discern patterns and extract order from chaos. Here lies a world where science and superstitions decorate the canvas of understanding, each stroke a progressive or regressive step in humanity's complex dance with birth and mortality. In these literary sanctuaries, surgeons, physicians, and midwives alike seek guidance and affirmation, a blend of empirical observation and inherited wisdom that shapes the practice of those tasked with navigating fragile passage between life and death. These texts aspire to provide the map to a labouring world where pain and promise interlace, promising or hoping to promise salvation and solace. As the flickering candle breathes life into shadows along the ancient walls, consider the faithful reproduction of these works by monks and scholars, whose devotion to preservation ensures that future generations benefit from the hard-fought knowledge of their predecessors. Staring at the deliberate calligraphy and the spare illumination, you suspect that the stories of survival, both recorded and implied, perpetuate the enduring quest for better care. Now, with these glimpses into medieval manuscripts, let your imagination dwell on how the text stands as a bridge between the testimonies of pigment-stained manuscripts and the chaos of a future unknown. For even now, stories of resilience and hope bound by ink and anticipation echo through time, winding their roots deep into the soul of history, grateful that every ink-stained leaf leaves the echoes of survival carried forth by the tides of time. Drifting further into the medieval world, let's slow down and examine a less uplifting but no less significant aspect of our journey, the stark reality of maternal mortality. In those centuries long before modern medical advancements, childbirth was fraught with peril, a tightrope walk between life and death without a safety net. Imagine yourself in a small village, where the echoes of church bells mingle with conversations that often carry the solemn weight of past losses. During medieval times, the spectre of maternal mortality loomed large over every stage of childbirth. On average, around 1 in 3 women might experience various complications, and many simply wouldn't survive. You can feel the chill in the air as villagers recall histories where childbirth wasn't merely an anticipated event, but a gamble, one where the stakes were heartbreakingly high. The maternal mortality rate turned birthing beds into battlegrounds, and each successful delivery a hard-won victory. Through the tapestry of a woman's life, the threads of risk and danger are inextricably entwined. Birth attendants often faced the stark reality of their own limitations, with no anesthesia to dull the pain or advanced surgical skills to remedy an obstructed labour. Each breath taken by a mother and child is tethered to fate, a precarious dance surrounded by prayers and potions designed more to coax fortune than mastery over the situation. Dive deeper into the causes underlying these statistics. Hemorrhaging, infections, and complications from prolonged labour were frequent culprits, as feared as they were sometimes inevitable. The knowledge and means to tackle these dire issues were largely absent, leaving scars not just on families but across entire generations. It is here that you witness the fragility of life through a lens that uniquely balances horror and hope. Amidst the sombre statistics, there's an enduring sense of courage that prevailed. Communities rallied around impacted families, offering a network of support that extended beyond condolences to the tangible help in raising orphaned children and ensuring familial bonds endured. Personal tragedy was thus woven into the community's narrative as a collective struggle and remembrance. A call to fortify the bonds, a gesture that says no one journey, however tragic, goes unattributed. Historians still argue whether certain purported causes of maternal mortality were accurately understood, or if many explanations grew in misconceptions and fable. Rising from one such myth may be the infamous childbed fever, notably recognized and now often linked to bacterial infections contracted during delivery. Attempts were made to minimize these risks through herbal remedies, but the true nature of germs and transmission wouldn't be understood until centuries later. This absence of scientific clarity lent a dramatic air to the mysteries already clouding this aspect of medieval life. Despite their fleeting nature, the stories of women who succumbed to childbirth dangers resonate through the ages. They remind us of the indomitable spirit and resilience that define the history of women enduring this shared passage. Each tragic loss marked not just the end of a life, but left behind legacies, often remembered through family lineages, community recollections, and even in the margins of stained annals, recounting births alongside losses. It's with a mix of sorrow and respect that we acknowledge the sobering realities of maternal mortality, carving a path through the echoes of families who navigated these treacherous waters. These stories linger, indelibly etched within the records of medieval society, bearing witness to the fragile balance between hope and despair, faith and fear. As you seek to understand the full scope of medieval childbirth, you unearth a nuanced appreciation for how each sigh of relief from successful delivery reverberates through a chorus of silent gratitude. The chorus of lives once suspended at the precipice of loss. These historical memories invite you closer, echoing whispers of strength and hope we carry forward, for every stride in maternal health resonates powerfully against past narratives. Beneath the weight of reality, these stories motivate continued advancements, ensuring that the shadows of maternal mortality become less a fixture of memory and more a ghost laid to rest by modern triumphs. As you wander through medieval streets, filled with echoes of life and whispers of history, your journey leads you to an unexpected treasure trove, art and literature. It is here, amidst the strokes of paint and scripted verse, that the medieval experience of childbirth is immortalized. These creative expressions offer precious windows into a world where birth was both an intimate and public affair, captured and shared beyond the confines of time. Imagine stepping inside a dimly lit chapel, its walls adorned with frescoes that depict not just the divine, but the secular rhythms of life. High on one wall, you notice a detailed scene of the Virgin Mary, her maternity, captured with reverence and humanity. The imagery of the Madonna, portrayed in countless forms across Europe, provides a visual dialogue with the concept of motherhood as both divine and profoundly human. This art speaks of veneration, of endurance and transcendence, offering a tender portrait amidst themes of survival and salvation. Aside from religious settings, tapestries woven with domestic scenes hang in noble homes, granting insight into the quieter, more personal facets of childbirth. In these threads, you see midwives gently tending to labouring women, their roles given enduring validation through vibrant colours and intricate details. Such works of art communicate the essential roles of women in society, a tribute to their resilience and the communal bonds forged in the crucible of childbirth. The written word accompanies these visuals, with literature of the time interweaving stories of women and their birthing journeys among epic tales and lyric poetry. You might stumble upon the Canterbury Tales, where Geoffrey Chaucer's narrative subtlety whispers of maternal figures within the woven tapestry of his broader societal critique. These stories, though sometimes humorous and other times poignant, echo the omnipresence of childbirth as a fundamental human experience. As you leaf through the pages, you'll discover that tales of mythical heroes and historic figures often intertwine with those of their birth and the figures who brought them into the world. These narratives elevate the significance of birth, aligning it with creation myths and reinforcing its fundamental place in the human saga. The blending of myth and reality offers a multi-layered understanding of medieval values, where the act of birth assumes a near-sacred status, framed within the challenges of earthly existence. Beyond narrative, the instrumentation of music contributes to this celebration of life and motherhood. Songs and ballads swell with themes of love and loss, often featuring mothers who nurture heroes or grieve fallen children. As cultures encode childbirth within these melodies, they soothe and support their communities, passing time-honored stories from one generation to the next. Historians still argue whether certain allegorical meanings, illustrated and scribbled throughout these artistic works, accurately mirror the medieval experience or reflect idealized interpretations. Nonetheless, these pieces remain enduring reflections of childbirth's influence far beyond the domain of personal experience, across culture and faith, lineage and identity. Each brushstroke and stanza illuminates a narrative, inviting you to witness the resonance of childbirth beyond its challenges and rewards. They challenge you to recognize the depth of human resilience and creativity, intertwined in historical records as art and text. From frescoes of holy birth to the rustic depictions of tender maternal scenes, humanity's perpetual dance with creation can be seen, coloring our history and our understanding of what it means to bring life into being. Before you leave this rich confluence of sight and sound, remember how these creative renderings continue to shape our perceptions of the past. They whisper through time, connecting us to shared histories while celebrating individual stories of courage and endurance. This artistic canon represents the heartbeats of medieval societies, echoing through the corridors of time to now, as humanity continues its age-old dance with the cycles of life, ever drawn forward by the unrelenting pulse of creation. In the resplendent corridors of medieval castles and the sprawling grandeur of noble estates, the role of noblewomen in childbirth meets the pale gleam of stained glass and the muted glow of tapestries. When exploring these storied walls, one begins to understand that for a noblewoman, the stakes attached to childbirth were inexorably tied to the family's legacy, prestige, and power dynamics. It is a realm where lineage and succession are woven into the very fabric of noble life, and the air itself thrums with societal expectations. Imagine a grand chamber, sumptuously appointed, where a noblewoman braces herself against the labour pains, each pang both a personal trial and a public event. Surrounded by an assembly that might include midwives, attendants, and family members, she embodies a crossroad of intimate vulnerability and public scrutiny. Her birthing experience is enveloped in layers of political significance, where delivering an heir can solidify the family's future in turbulent times. In these high-stakes environments, everything is meticulously planned. Herbal concoctions, culinary delicacies, and grand decor emulate both wealth and the earnest hope for a successful delivery. The chamber itself might be adorned with birthing stools, designed for comfort and practicality, a testament to both tradition and necessity. The lilt of soft music drifts in the background, a calculated attempt to soothe and distract, reminding all present that birth, though tinged with peril, is an event to be revered. But alongside the grandeur sit tangible pressures. For a noblewoman, childbirth encompasses more than her immediate physical struggle. Every whispered promise and anxious glance revolves around continuity, the solemn duty to produce a male heir to inherit titles and lands. The nursery housemaid may even hint at tales of neglected daughters finding their worth spun into diplomatic marriages, underscoring that in this world, a son can often command more immediate applause. Step closer into the intimate sphere of these noble women, you'll find their fears and anxieties set against the immense backdrop of societal pressures. They navigate a world that demands resilience. Undertaking confinement months prior to birth, they exist cloistered, yet not alone, immersed in a delicate web of protocol and expectation. These months of seclusion, or lying in, offer a dual reprieve and reminder, a chance for introspection, yet a pressing cognizance of duty. In those moments, where the line between sovereignty and vulnerability blurs, the myriad roles of these women stretch beyond motherhood. They become symbols ensconced within dynastic narratives, bound to their husbands' ambitions and dreams. Peace or conflict hangs over their households as surely as do the banners of her lineage. Midwives and noble aides stand ready, aware that each childbirth could sway the balance of a political future, elevating tension to a tangible presence. Still, despite their encasement in gold-tinted cages, noblewomen often wield subtle power. Astutely aware of their influences, they work to cultivate alliances and loyalty within their sphere. Their birthing chambers may witness not just entry into life, but also whispered vows of fealty and promises of favour, hinting at a parallel power structure built upon personal networks and influence wielded quietly, yet with precision. Historians still engage in spirited debate over the extent to which these women influenced policy and politics beyond their prescribed roles. Some suggest that, in bearing heirs, noblewomen were crucial catalysts in forging alliances, though their manipulations often hid under layers of decorum and enforced modesty. As the stories of noblewomen's childbirth unveil themselves with rich hues and sombre undertones, consider how this confluence of political and personal realms moulds the enduring image of medieval nobility. Here, nestled within fortress halls and familial aspirations, we witness a distinctive blend of feminine strength and resilience, navigating a world delicately poised on the edges of tradition and change. As you linger in these luxurious chambers, allow the narratives of noblewomen inspiring you to appreciate their vibrant presence. Despite societal limitations, they remain steadfast, reflecting a breadth of resilience that marked their era with grace. Their stories, intertwined with social, political, and personal domains, sing through time, casting a timeless allure upon the richly woven fabric of medieval history. In the dim corridors of memory, where whispers of past pandemics drift like ghostly echoes, the medieval experience of childbirth was profoundly influenced by the lurking spectre of plagues and disease. Imagine a world where illness stealthily infiltrates bustling marketplaces and quiet hamlets alike, sowing turmoil and transforming the very fabric of daily life. As we explore this unsettling chapter, you'll discover how the pervasive fear of plague etched itself into the childbirth landscape, shaping practices, beliefs, and, ultimately, survival. The medieval era endured waves of vicious pandemics, most notably the Black Death, that swept across continents, leaving an indelible mark on society. The Reaper's shadow extended its reach into every corner, including the sacred realms of birth. Imagine bustling streets suddenly hushed, the vibrancy of town squares dimmed, as communities grapple with the relentless advance of an invisible foe. This threat looms like a storm cloud on the communal horizon, and the spectre of disease weaves through the intimate dance of childbirth, amplifying fears and testing resilience. Within this context, pregnant women faced additional layers of uncertainty. The medieval understanding of disease remained rudimentary, deeply intertwined with spiritual and mystical beliefs. Many believed plagues to be divine punishment, or the result of malevolent forces. Charming amulets and fervent prayers intertwined with the tangible need for cleanliness and isolation. These attempts at protection reflect both the fear of contagion and a fledgling grasp of rudimentary public health measures. The role of midwives, already pivotal, took on added urgency during times of plague. Imagine them navigating not just the natural unpredictability of birth, but also the ebb and flow of endemic disease. They became gatekeepers, balancing their own health with the needs of expectant mothers. The presence of a coughing midwife could invoke terror as deep as the relief her skills provided. In hushed consultations, midwives may have advised birthing mothers on basic hygienic practices, an early recognition of the importance of cleanliness even if its full impact lay beyond their comprehension. In addition to human afflictions, animal diseases also influenced patterns around childbirth. The relationship between people and their livestock, essential to survival, add another layer of complexity. Outbreaks like rinderpest, affecting cattle, directly impacted nutrition and resource availability for mothers and their families. Historians still debate the extent to which such factors exacerbated maternal mortality and neonatal outcomes, but the ripple effects of disease undoubtedly compounded the stresses accompanying birth. During outbreaks, the isolated nature of rural communities offered a dual blessing and curse. On the one hand, distance provided a measure of insulation against city-borne contagions. On the other, this isolation meant that when disease did touch a community, its members were left reliant on their own resources, cut off from broader medical assistance and knowledge. Women tasked with preserving the lineage navigated this precarious balance between protecting their immediate family and contributing to broader community health. Superstitions flourished in this rich soil of anxiety, manifesting in practices to guard against the unknowable wrath of disease. Rituals became stippled with spice-scented smoke, a tactile attempt to purify and protect. Remedies involved mixtures of aromatic herbs intended to cleanse both home and inhabitants. A dance with prevention that mixed old wives' tales and rudimentary innovation in equal measure. Nevertheless, the risks of childbirth persisted regardless of societal health crises. Plague or no plague, the birthing process remained a delicate science, conducted without pharmaceuticals or surgical interventions. Yet, as these women navigated the interplay between life, death, and disease, their narratives became threads in the global tapestry of human perseverance. By walking alongside these tales of medieval childbirth, you appreciate the complex, perilous world these women inhabited, a world underscored by love and blood, fear and courage. It paints a portrait not just of survival, but of a profound collective tenacity that resonates down to the present day. In this exploration, may you discover inspiration in how, even amidst the pervasive backdrop of plague, humanity unearthed means to endure, adapt, and ultimately thrive. These chronicles of childbirth provide not just history, but a universal hymn to resilience, echoing through time and underscoring the shared human journey through creation amid chaos. In the quiet of a medieval village, as dawn breaks, you can hear the gentle lull of life awakening. The soft cries of an infant pierce the early morning calm, heralding the demands of nurture and care. In this echo of life, you encounter the practice of wet nursing, a poignant chapter in the chronicles of medieval motherhood and infancy. Imagine a quaint cottage, its walls bearing layers of history, where a mother cradles her newborn. Yet instead of nursing her own child, she might entrust that role to another woman, a wet nurse. Through this choice, dictated by necessity or societal norms, the cycle of nourishment and familial bond takes on a broader dimension, intertwining families through shared sustenance. Wet nursing was a widespread practice across medieval society, cultivating a bond of dependence and trust. For noblewomen, particularly, the employment of a wet nurse was not uncommon. Obliged to resume courtly duties or compelled by fashion, these women handed over the day-to-day sustenance of their infants to experienced wet nurses who nursed the young ones with the care and expertise of mothers themselves. Imagine the ambience of these great halls, where the cries of an infant resonate alongside the rustle of silk gowns and the hushed whispers of courtly intrigue. The reliance on wet nurses wasn't confined to nobility. In less affluent communities, a variety of circumstances could lead a mother to call upon a wet nurse. Illness, insufficient milk supply, or multiple births might necessitate such an arrangement, reminding us of the communal nature of medieval villages, where child-rearing was as much a shared endeavour as it was an individual responsibility. Within this framework, the role of the wet nurse encompasses more than just feeding. She becomes an integral part of the child's life, often forming lasting bonds that sometimes blur the lines between familial and hired ties. As you observe her, you understand that her responsibilities stretch beyond the mere act of breastfeeding. She also swaddles the child in layers of comfort and warmth, providing a loving presence in the formative months of life. The practice of wet nursing, however, was not without controversy or ethical deliberation. Some circles debated the impact of surrogate nursing on the child's connection with its birth mother, while others questioned the social implications. For a wet nurse, her task was not just her profession but often a necessity, sometimes driven by economic need, sometimes by the loss of her own child. Historians still argue whether wet nursing was a purely practical decision or whether it carried subtle judgments about class and maternal roles. In noble households, the employment of a wet nurse signalled affluence, but it also shifted the dynamics of mother-child interaction. While mothers often remained emotionally connected, the day-to-day act of nurturing through breastfeeding was delegated. Meanwhile, children's early bonding experiences became intricately linked with these caretakers, who, regardless of background, provided a continuity of care crucial for early survival. Outside the realm of nobility, the arrangement could also signal a mutual support system, binding communities together. The woman who took on this role assumed deep responsibility and, at times, a respected position within the community. Her ability to provide for another's child emphasized the strength found in community ties, lending life to the ancient adage that it takes a village to raise a child. As you reflect on these practices, acknowledge the profound interplay between necessity, custom, and intimacy that wet nursing encapsulates. Here, the very act of breastfeeding transforms into a narrative of survival and interdependence, portraying both societal values and personal stories in nourishing forms. Through the practice of wet nursing, medieval societies reflected their reliance on extended networks and the expectations norms placed upon women of varying stations. These stories illuminate the spectrum of motherhood, revealing an ancient world where the feeding of children was at once tender, communal, and, on occasion, a matter of strategic necessity. And so, As you walk through this heartwarming yet complex relationship, reflect on how medieval customs spill into our understanding of family, care, and community today. Resonating across centuries, the echoes of wet nursing create a bridge between mothers and children past and present, a testament to the enduring, nuanced dance between love, sacrifice, and the shared journeys that motherhood navigates. As dawn stretches across the rolling hills of medieval countryside, the promise of another bustling day begins to unfold. In the heart of this era, woven into the daily rhythm of life is the crucial role that nutrition plays, in both the health of a pregnant woman and her eventual recovery after childbirth. Join me as we step into a world where diet is both a sustainer and a symbol of social standing, offering insights into the intimate connection between nourishment and survival. Picture yourself in the bustling atmosphere of a medieval marketplace, where traders shout to advertise their vibrant array of produce. From baskets overflowing with plump cabbages to the subtle tang of freshly baked bread, the air is rich with the scent of potential sustenance. Here, the daily selection of food is not merely about taste or preference, it is shaped by the seasons, dictated by availability, and deeply influenced by social class. In the life of a medieval woman, diet was an often overlooked yet pivotal factor influencing her pregnancy and postnatal recovery. Nutritional knowledge was an amalgamation of folk wisdom and emerging scholarly thought, a far cry from modern understanding, yet underlined by a clear awareness that food and health were intrinsically linked. In treating expectant mothers, a common diet might have included hearty broths, bread, and the occasional piece of meat, providing sustenance with calculated simplicity. For noblewomen, the table was a world of abundance and delicacy. Imagine a rich tapestry of flavors, roast meats, delicate pastries, and imported spices, gracing the tables of the affluent. Such feasting offered both nourishment and a visual display of wealth, readily on show for guests and family. Yet, this culinary luxury also had its pitfalls. Overindulgence and a lack of balance could lead to health complications, complicating childbirth and recovery for the uninitiated or unaware. In contrast, the peasant woman's diet, although simpler, consisted largely of what could be grown or foraged from the land. Consider staples like pottage, a common dish of vegetables and grains, slowly simmered to ward off hunger. While these foods lacked opulence, they were often fresher, closer to the earth, encouraging sustainability and resilience. You can almost taste the honesty and sincerity in these simple meals, sustenance crafted from a lifetime of understanding the land and its seasonal offerings. Communal traditions around food offered guidance to expectant mothers. Shared meals became venues for bestowing advice and watching over the nutritional well-being of women and children. Recipes for broths that promised strength were passed down through generations, a shared language of care and heritage that extended from the heart of the kitchen to the birthing room. In addition to diet, drinks played a central role in medieval nutrition. Both noble and peasant women would consume ale or mead, not just for recreation, but as an essential element of hydration. Water, with its varying degrees of purity, was often viewed with suspicion. Alcoholic beverages acted as safer alternatives, notwithstanding their own set of challenges. Herbs, too, entered this nutritional narrative, drawing from a verdant bounty to bolster diet and remedy ailments. Rosemary for circulation, fennel for digestion, and sage for strength offered their versatile virtues, gracing both humble plots and elaborate garden spaces. These herbs speak of a world where culinary and medicinal spheres intersected, offering mothers-to-be both gentle support and enriched nutrition. Historians continue to debate whether medieval society's emphasis on balanced diets had a quantifiable impact on survival rates and recovery during childbirth. Despite the limitations of their day, the profound connection between food and well-being was unmistakably acknowledged. Each meal a gesture towards sustaining life, each ingredient chosen with care and deliberation. Through this portrait of medieval nutrition, observe how the essential synergy between body and sustenance shaped maternal experiences. Despite the era's limitations, the creative utilization of available resources speaks volumes about resilience and the innate human instinct to nurture life. As you conclude this passage through history, reflecting on medieval nourishment, consider its echoes in our lives today. These tales impart the enduring wisdom of thoughtful nourishment and the integral role that community and food share in forging a continuum of care-binding past to present, plate to palate, in the timeless dance of mother and child. Amidst the grandeur and intrigue of medieval courts, the experience of childbirth carries both intimate and political weight, a spectacle where personal joy interweaves with the complex tapestry of power. Journey into a world where royal births influence not only lineage but strategy, where every newborn carries more than just familial hopes. They bear the weight of entire kingdoms. Picture the scene. A grand chamber within a castle, its stone walls draped with rich tapestries depicting ancestral triumphs and lineage. This space, meticulously prepared, is not just a birthing room, but a stage for a royal event. The chamber is abuzz with a retinue of midwives, physicians and attendants, each playing their part in the pageantry of a royal delivery. The very air is imbued with expectation, a mix of excitement and anxiety about what this new life represents. The birth of a royal child is an affair of state, fraught with implications beyond the personal sphere. Courtiers stand ready with immediate updates to dispatch throughout the realm, their whispers trailing through the tapestries of the castle, destined to become orders and declarations ratified by the presence of a new heir or heiress. The light of candles flickers against the faces of onlookers, casting shadows that mimic the fluctuations of fortune and power so intrinsic to these hallowed halls. The stakes surrounding royal births are profound, fraught with pressures that ripple across thrones and borders. The birth of a male heir is celebrated with fervour, an assurance of continuity and stability within the realm. Imagine a jubilant feast in the great hall, where lords and ladies gather to toast the newcomer, each goblet raised not merely in celebration but in anticipation of an unbroken legacy. In stark contrast, the arrival of a girl can trigger less frenzied celebrations, tinged with the undertones of unmet expectations. Yet within these daughters lie the possibilities of alliance and influence, often becoming pawns or partners in political negotiations. Their births interlace the woven politics of kingdoms, highlighting the nuanced roles women would often play in securing familial power. From within these walls come stories of strength and fortitude. Royal women, while shielded by privilege, navigate the personal challenges of childbirth amidst demands of dynastic duty. There is no guarantee their status shields them from the physical dangers. In fact, the expectation of producing multiple heirs can exacerbate these risks. And yet, even here, their resilience shines through as a testament to the quiet endurance woven into the fabric of royal motherhood. Beyond the immediate chamber, political implications of royal births extend across borders, influencing diplomatic relationships. They become beacons of peace or beacons of strife, their existence shaping treaties or igniting rivalries. Historians still discuss the fate of entire nations, forged and fractured through royal births, where a singular life contributes to the cascading events scripted into the annals of history. Within these narratives persists a delicate dance between the sacredness of birth and the pragmatic reality of power. The celebration of a new child serves as a strategic instrument, its promise echoing through passages and courts. Amidst these vital beginnings, the new life represents a continuation of stories that resonate far beyond any singular dynasty. They become chapters in the collective epic of human society. Moving through this opulent landscape, reflect on the complex legacy of royal births in medieval times. They weave a rich, enduring tapestry, where each strand interlocks ambition and lineage, sovereignty and survival. In their echoes, we trace the intricate interplay between human frailty and great ambitions engagements that definitely shape the past and colour our understanding of identity and place today. So, as we step back from this grand narrative, imagine the quiet lullaby sung to a royal infant, swaddled in tapestries of history, cradled amidst power and promise, where one birth becomes a heartbeat that echoes across continents and centuries. The light fades gently on these storied halls, but the legacy of royal childbirth endures, an indelible part of the living story we share. In the dim recesses of medieval chambers, where flickering candlelight plays upon shadowed faces, you'll find a rich world brimming with peculiar beliefs and unexpected practices surrounding childbirth. These elements blend ancient wisdom with quirky tradition, creating a tapestry of the unusual. This is a journey into a time when magic, myth, and medicine danced together. A time when the act of giving life became an interplay of the mundane and the mystical. Imagine stepping into a medieval birthing room where the air is thick with expectation. Here, alongside trusted midwives and mothers, lies a fascinating collection of beliefs and customs that were at times as bizarre as they were earnest. Each practice holds a story, illuminating the ways in which people sought to sway fortune in their favor during childbirth. Consider the use of talismans believed to protect both mother and child. These might include trinkets shaped like small animals or celestial symbols, deftly worked from silver or carved from wood. Imagine touching a cool, smooth amulet, each one murmuring promises of safety and health. Such items are thought to ward off malevolent influences, drawing upon an array of astrological and spiritual lore interwoven through generations. One particularly curious practice involves the use of birth girdles. Long, braided cords blessed and inscribed with holy text. A woman would wear this girdle during labour, trusting in its protection and power to ease her pains. The belief in the girdle's efficacy illustrates the pivotal role religion and magic played in the psychology of childbirth, offering solace that transcended tangible medicine. But not all customs leaned heavily on the spiritual or mystical. Take, for instance, the curious tradition of planting a tree to mark a child's birth, often something sturdy and long-lived, like an oak or yew. This practice symbolized growth and endurance, a living testament to the new life and its unfolding journey. Fortunately, it appears that the imagery of life blooming in tandem with nature's cycles brought comfort to families, linking their lineage with continuity through the natural world. Yet, the urges to invest in the arcane often introduced dangerously outlandish remedies. Take the case of powdered wolf's bone mixed into drinks, believed to guard against unforeseen complications. And who could forget crocodile dung ointment, once thought to be the cure-all of its time? Historians still argue whether these were acts of desperation or simply testament to humanity's endless capacity for inventive, if misguided, forays into healing. Some traditional practices bore hidden wisdom, echoing through the corridors of time into modern midwifery. The use of specific birthing positions, like squatting supported by ropes or poles, aligns with contemporary techniques to facilitate labour. Additionally, singing or rhythmic chanting, to focus a mother's mind and control her breathing, remarkably resembles modern birthing classes that promote meditation and inner calm. The open debate of whether such practices were truly effective or mainly psychological is reminiscent of the age-old human tendency to weave stories and significance into every thread of life. More than medical intervention, these unusual customs provided a compass amidst chaos, a narrative map to navigate a life's beginning that bridged the tangible with the transcendental. In these spaces, where unusual interventions merged with ancestral practices, the act of childbirth morphed into a ritual imbued with both hope and uncertainty. And in that transformation, the stories of those who engaged with these curious traditions lift echoes of courage, community, and inherent will to overcome, not simply characterized as oddities, but foundations of shared human experience. As we turn away from the birthing rooms scattered with peculiar relics and remnants of bygone superstitions, consider reflecting upon the enduring footprint of these quaint, sometimes comical traditions. They reveal the curious yet brave spirit with which medieval societies approached the mysteries of childbirth and inform our appreciation for the history of human creativity and resilience. These unique, vibrant customs tell stories interlaced with the deep-seated need for reassurance and survival. Together, they craft a living history that, irrespective of peculiarities, highlights the universal human condition, bonded by life's promise and its perpetual quest to cradle new beginnings in nurturing arms. As the medieval world unfurls around you, imagine a lively tapestry of change, where threads of tradition are woven with whispers of new understanding. Journey into the slow evolution of childbirth practices, where the impetus for change emerges from the interplay of ancient customs and nascent scientific exploration. Here, the art of bringing life into the world shifts gradually, spurred by curiosity, necessity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Step into a bustling apothecary, its shelves lined with jars of curious substances and bundles of drying herbs. The air is filled with the musky fragrance of nature's bounty and the promise of discovery. Amongst the healers and midwives, there's a palpable sense of exploration as ancient techniques absorb new insights, rearranging the long-held symphony of childbirth methods. The evolution of techniques is not merely a linear progression, but a complex dance between the past and the present. Traditional midwifery, deeply rooted in community knowledge, encounters burgeoning academic pursuit, a melding occasionally fraught but ultimately fruitful. With an awareness that each birth echoes both the sacred and the scientific, the task lies in fortifying each delivery with newfound wisdom. Enter the realm of contemporaneous medical texts, such as those inspired by the compendiums from across cultural boundaries, the Canon of Medicine by Avicenna, and translated works of Hippocrates and Galen. These guidebooks transition from anecdotal lore to more structured inquiry, highlighting innovative approaches, such as hygiene principles and nuanced anatomical understanding. Aging practices begin to show signs of transformation. Tools evolve from rudimentary implements to more refined instruments like forceps and birthing chairs, emphasizing comfort and practicality. These refinements come not without trial and error, but reflect an ongoing pursuit of easing the burdens faced in labor. Imagine a midwife holding an improved version of forceps, its polished contours crafted with care, embodying both trepidation and optimistic intent. As the lines between survival and advancement blur, herbalists merge their reservoirs of traditional remedies with emerging theories of human anatomy. The potions remain as vibrant and pungent as ever, each tincture carefully measured to soothe and sustain. Meanwhile, the slow undercurrent of change introduces new ingredients, some discovered through increasing contact with the wider world and expanding trade routes, bringing aloes from the East, known for healing, into their mystical repertoire. Historians continue to debate the speed and scope at which such practices evolved, making it clear that this era was less about swift revolution and more about the gradual weaving of new threads into an established loom. This is a time when birthing practices are adjacent to the scientific revival, and the blending of empiricism with age-old habitus reflects a quintessentially human propensity for adaptation. As you contemplate this marriage of tradition and transition, keep in mind the dawning understanding of hygiene, a concept slowly permeating the prevailing medical doctrines. The connection between cleanliness and health is rudimentary, yet its whispers promise the hopes for reduced infections and safer deliveries. Hands clean of dirt and tools washed with ale or vinegar offer glimpses of the future, a future grounded in the simple power of sanitation. Within these cumulative efforts rests the inexorable march forward. The synergy between empirical observations and entrenched tradition speaks to societies moving deliberately, a recognition of the limitations and harsh realities of the day, tempered with a longing for an evolved tomorrow. At the heart of this transformation, women and midwives alike become adherents of change, gathering light from old wisdom while embracing emerging enlightenment. Their stories embody a quiet, tenacious defiance, reflected in the relentless honing of crafts in chambers and fields alike, where each birth bolsters the shared legacy of perseverance and curiosity. Pause to savor the slowly turning gears of progress that molded medieval childbirth, embodying a testament to human adaptability and the shared resolve to infuse the timeless act of creation with deeper understanding. The blend of tradition and evolution sets the stage for a world that ushers in life with greater certainty and respect, bridging past with future in a dance that spans across generations and geographies. The echoes of these changes carry forward, with the resonant hum of medieval legacy whispering of an ever-deepening understanding, a tapestry of life's profound journey, illuminated by knowledge, humanness, and the desire to transcend the known edges of the world. In the dim glow of medieval hearths, where stories flicker like shadows against stone walls, lies a domain, often overlooked, the psychological strain experienced by women facing childbirth. In a time when survival was uncertain and knowledge limited, the emotional journey surrounding birth became a powerful narrative, woven with threads of hope, fear, and resilience. Join me as we delve into the psychological tapestry of medieval women navigating the throes of childbirth. Imagine yourself in a modest dwelling or a sumptuous manor, the rooms filled not just with physical preparations for birth, but also with the quiet intensity of unspoken fears and expectations. Childbirth, a rite of passage shrouded in uncertainty, looms large over a woman's life. When you stand among these whispers, you can sense the emotional burden carried by expectant mothers. A burden shared, though seldom voiced. From a young age, women were well acquainted with the realities of birth. The stories of mothers, aunts, and sisters echoed through domestic spaces, revealing the joys of new life while shadowed by tales of tragedy and loss. This dual awareness of life's creation and the lurking spectre of mortality formed a somber backdrop against which women painted their own birth experiences. In this environment, resilience becomes a psychological necessity, a shield against the uncertainties of childbirth. Imagine the courage required to face such a fate, embracing the complex blend of anticipation and anxiety as the labor approaches. Women would reach for strength within themselves and from the community, finding solace in shared experiences that instilled fortitude. Through witnessing hands cradling small mementos, or receiving heartening counsel from those who stood before them. Despite differing social circumstances, the emotional textures varied little across class lines. Whether surrounded by opulence or nestled within simplicity, expectant mothers searched for stability in an inherently precarious process. Through letters, paintings, and whispered tales, we see glimpses of their emotional landscapes. Letters penned with trembling hands revealing the innermost fears, as well as the sound sessions where laughter and tears commingle in the company of supportive kin. Within these intimate circles, the art of storytelling played a crucial role in shaping maternal confidence. Women imparted tales of personal trials and triumphs, constructing a shared mythos that offered both personal and communal strength. These narratives, tinged with humor, wisdom, and empathy, served as both a balm for the soul and a catalyst for psychological resilience. The presence of midwives and healers provided an additional layer of emotional support. Not only did they offer expertise in handling the physical aspects of birth, but they also understood the psychological needs of their charges. A midwife's steady voice, reassuring and seasoned by experience, became a lifeline, a beacon of rationality and comfort amidst the tumult of labor. However, not all women possessed a community support network, or the encouragement to express their fears. Isolation, whether due to status, geography, or circumstance, could intensify the psychological pressures of childbirth. In these cases, women often leaned heavily upon faith, drawing spiritual strength from prayers and the sanctity of religious texts. The weight of an encompassing belief that a higher power watched over and guided them brought solace amidst solitude. Historians still argue whether medieval women truly understood the psychological impact of childbirth or if their focus remained firmly on survival. Yet the evidence of emotional coping strategies and the intrinsic need for support suggests a profound, if unspoken, comprehension of this psychological journey. As candlelight merges with the hush of twilight, ponder the quiet valor embodied within these women's experiences. Their silent narratives speak from one heart to another, forming a chorus that spans ages, revealing the timeless emotional resilience woven through human history. May the echoes of their emotional strength invite you to reflect on the enduring links between mind and heart, a shared exploration across time's expanse, heading not just what it means to bring life into the world, but how the intricate landscapes of emotion form an equally vital part of the life-giving process. As the evening deepens over medieval landscapes, casting shadows long and stirring the quiet of hearth and hall, the role of fathers in childbirth emerges from its formless obscurity. In an era dominated by matronly midwives and female kin, imagine the subtle presence of medieval fathers. Figures often painted at the periphery of birthing narratives, yet intricately tethered to the unfolding drama of new life. The medieval father, distant in practice yet near in spirit, occupies an intriguing space between involvement and detachment. Unlike today's expectations of fatherhood where active participation is valued, medieval fathers usually observed from afar, their duties woven through societal norms that relegated childbirth primarily to the female sphere. Imagine them pacing castle halls or maintaining a quiet vigil by the hearth, embodying an external calm that belied internal tides of anxiety. In noble households, fathers were not directly present in the birthing chambers. Instead, they awaited news amidst the grandeur and opulence of great rooms, where they continued their estate's affairs or engaged in discussions with advisors and family. Their presence often revolved around the roles of guardian and protector, ensuring the safety of both estate and family, duties seen through a lens of sobriety and obligation. Wars could be waged or lands negotiated, but the birth of an heir fixed their purpose, an internal inheritance passed down and through bloodlines. The looming responsibility of producing an heir bore significant weight on fathers, as each successful birth delineated between lineage's continuation or potential familial instability. You might imagine them holding their breath, waiting as much for the sound of an infant cry as for news of their wife's safety. A delicate balance between hope and heartache, beneath tapestries resonant with lineage's embroidered threads. In quieter rural settings, the approach was less formal yet equally apprehensive. Farmers and craftsmen might glimpse the birthing room from field or forge. For them, each child signified more than legacy. It was an assurance, the continuation of life's work that stretched beyond their own time. The sustenance of family affairs, tilling earth or honing metal, rested not just with the presence of offspring, but in acknowledgement of familial futures secure within one's offspring. But even as they remained physically distant, fathers wielded subtle influence via the alliances they nurtured and the familial decisions they embraced. Historians still argue about the exact degree of their emotional engagement, but they could surmise that, through whispered promises and fireside conversations, fathers played their part in casting long shadows over future possibilities. Society's tapestry continued to transform, and with it, the fluidity in masculine roles and expectations shifted. These fathers, steeped in tradition, gradually echoed the societal shifts that would, in time, call for greater shared parenting responsibilities. Locked behind formalities, emotions underscored their quiet commitment, expressed in bequeathing love through legacy, ensuring provisions for mother and child alike. Engaging with tales and traditions, each new birth interpolated an awareness of roles, unyielding as they were, positing familial growth. The emergence of each child, boy or girl, provided fresh opportunities to reflect upon fathers' roles as protectors, as namesakes or leaders. Their evolving presence lived on, not stark against history's passages absent, but resonant within the greater familial continuum. As the flicker of candlelit narratives soften and draw to a close, picture these fathers, their voices faint but echoing warmth through the darkened hallways of collective memory. Whether their hands held tools or rested openly upon prayer book, feelings ricochet across generations, offering balance to the work of birthing, reclusive yet reluctantly entwined in gentle testament to the breadth of their duty. May these paternal experiences illuminate the complexity of roles within the birthing sphere. A reminder that as humans forge families, roles must evolve, nurtured by an understanding that reaches beyond the tangible task of bringing life into being, into the intimate art of weaving family narratives together. As the medieval landscape stretches before you, imagine wandering through a world where each child born represents both a fragile new beginning and a hopeful legacy yet to unfold. In this chapter, we explore the tenuous pathways of infancy and the myriad factors that shaped survival odds in a time when life was as uncertain as the changing seasons. The cry of a newborn splits the quiet of dawn, an assertion of life amid the challenges that greet each new day. In the medieval era, childhood survival was no small feat. Children's lives were precariously balanced on the edge of harsh realities, influenced by a multitude of factors ranging from healthcare to the simple roll of fate's dice. In this setting, the village lays out its narrative, a bustling, closely knit community where everyone knows everyone else's child, and every birth is acknowledged by all. Homes are simple but bustling with activity, their faces absorbing the chatter of children as much as the anxieties of their caregivers. Within these walls, hope and concern mingle, naturally centering on a newborn's ability to thrive and survive. Newborns bring joy, but enter a landscape anointed with myriad health challenges. Infant mortality rates were high, attributed to illness, malnutrition, or unsanitary conditions. Infections like smallpox or gastrointestinal afflictions loomed large, while birth defects or complications were met with limited understanding or capacity to intervene. When a new life entered this world, it carried communal hopes pinned on nature's watchful balance. In noble households, the stakes were similarly high. A new heir's survival ensured the continuity of lineage, intertwined with aspirations for alliances and future power. The status of the noble line impelled families to employ the best care. Midwives, wet nurses, and physicians, each brought on to coax life and health from delicate beginnings. You can imagine them bustling through stone corridors, each footstep laden with intent and attention to detail. Breastfeeding, supplemented by wet nurses, played a pivotal role. Yet debates existed as to its merits versus potential detriment. Wet nurses often provided stability but could distance the child from the mother, inadvertently affecting bonding. Historians still argue about the social and nutritional impacts that reflect the complex socio-cultural evolution surrounding infant feeding. In tales whispered on the wind, mothers consult the wisdom of elders, internalizing age-old practices meant to guide their newborns towards healthy development. Swaddling clothes enveloped infants like warm cocoons, a tradition echoing the desire to drape new life in protective comfort. Herbs suspended over cradles, lullabies sung on breath of lavender and rosemary. These practices embodied parents' determination to safeguard their progeny. The care of a child was a communal endeavour. The extended family and neighbours played protective and nurturing roles, ensuring no child slipped through unseen clutches of fate. These bonds extended protection under the community's watchful eye, never leaving parents isolated in their efforts. For each challenge on a child's journey, stories of resilience and miraculous recovery whisper hope, a gentle reminder of the enduring spirit mirrored across time. And yet, undercurrents of acceptance weave through their realities. While modern medicine's bounty was absent, philosophy and faith offered graceful acceptance of life's mysteries. Though loss wove a common seam through familial lives, each birth bore its own heroic stakes, inspiring perseverance across generations. Reflecting on this era of childhood, you find yourself touched by the echoes of resolve and hope. Through the tender fragility of medieval infancy, humanity's timeless dance with life unfolds, resilient in spirit, driven by nascent grace. As this exploration gently bows to dusk, imagine stories told by firesides during long winters, infusing warmth and shared strength. May these insights into medieval infancy let us cherish the interwoven narratives binding humanity's continued endeavour to nurture life, revealing the potential for perseverance, even amidst the trials of an uncertain past. And now, as we slowly weave a cocoon of tranquility around this journey, let the gentle cadence of history drift softly through your thoughts. The tales of endurance and love echo quietly in the chambers of time, a testament to the world's myriad stories waiting to cradle you into peaceful slumber. The turning of the seasons brings us into the heart of community life, where the arrival of a newborn is a celebrated event steeped in tradition and joy. As we journey through the tapestry of medieval customs, we discover how childbirth was not just a private affair, but a community celebration, a time when births were marked by ceremonies and gatherings that wove the threads of family and society together. Picture a village springing to life at the news of a child's birth. The air hums with excitement, neighbours extending congratulations, and families preparing to welcome a new soul into their midst. The village square, ordinarily a scene of bustling trade and chatter, transforms into a ground of jubilance as villagers come together to honour the newborn and the family. Imagine the sound of laughter mingling with the clang of church bells, reverberating through cobblestone streets. In rural settings, a birth might be acknowledged with a modest gathering in the home where family and friends offer gifts emblematically tied to the practicalities of life, handcrafted toys, homemade blankets and hearty foodstuffs. Picture the warm glow of a fireplace casting flickering shadows over lively conversations and shared toasts, as the community of women who supported the birth gathers to narrate tales of endurance and triumph, a ritual echoing shared strength. For noble families, the birth of a child, especially an heir, warrants grand celebrations that extend beyond their immediate household and into the realm of political theatre. Imagine opulent feasts held in great halls, where sumptuous banquets stretch the limits of wealth, incorporating delicacies, wines, and grandiose displays of affluence. These gatherings serve dual purposes. They celebrate the addition to the family and signify the stability and continuity that an heir promises for the noble line. Amongst these celebrations, religious customs often underscore the event. Baptisms were not only spiritual affirmations, but ceremonies to cement a newborn's future within the faith community. Witness the vibrant colours of cloth and cotton, symbolic of purity and new beginnings, adorning the sacred space as local clergy bless the child. Parents, godparents and kin form a protective circle, infusing the rite with solemn joy and shared responsibility for the child's spiritual growth. Despite differences in scale and opulence, the commonality across all social strata lies in the communal spirit of these celebrations. They served to introduce the child into the social fabric, fostering a network of support and protection that would accompany them through life's journey. The community's acceptance and blessing manifest as a sacred covenant of mutual aid and joyful obligation. Superstitions and local customs might also pepper these festivities. Some may include hanging talismans over cradles to protect the infant from malevolent spirits, or reciting chants believed to fortify the child's strength and spirit. Music and dance enliven gatherings, with traditional songs binding generations together as secrets of the past are shared amongst the new. These celebratory customs stand as a testament to resilience. encapsulating the determination to infuse joy into life's uncertainty, to mark the beginning of a new journey with love, laughter, and community support. Even in a world fraught with trials, the human spirit finds ways to celebrate every flicker of light that promises continuity and hope. As you muse on these threads of celebration, may they enrich your understanding of medieval life and inspire reflections on the role of communal bonds in our own time. With each celebration, humanity crafts a shared narrative, a melody resonating with the warmth of family and community that transcends centuries. These echoes of joyous gatherings cast your thoughts softly back to the heart of this immersive journey, inviting you to cherish the tender rites that mark the weaving of a life into the fabric of history. In these vibrant tapestries of welcome and wonder, may you find gentle solace and inspiration. As the medieval world unfurls before you, alive with whispers of saffron-clad sunlight and fragrant fields of possibility, we find ourselves immersed in a debate that resonates across ages. The discourse on breastfeeding. In a society that balances tradition with practicality, the act of nursing intertwines with notions of health, morality, and societal norms, reflecting a complex web of perceptions surrounding this most intimate form of nourished connection. Picture yourself standing in a quaint cottage or grand manor, where mothers cradle newborns, swaddling them in warmth and love. Here, breastfeeding is both a deeply personal choice and a societal expectation, laden with cultural significance. In the medieval era, this aspect of child-rearing is not just nourishment, but a reflection of maternal duty and affection. The perception of breastfeeding varies widely across social classes. Within noble circles, despite the practicality and immediacy of nursing one's child, the practice frequently yields to the cultural norm of employing wet nurses. This is not merely a matter of convenience, but a reflection of status, allowing noble women to quickly resume societal obligations, or simply maintaining a lifestyle where direct nursing is perceived as less refined. In contrast, peasant women often nurse their own children, as necessity intertwines with natural maternal instincts most directly. Their lives, simplified by circumstance, see breastfeeding as part of the larger tapestry of sustenance, a means of assuring their children grow strong amidst a world that affords less luxury and more resilience. Beyond these societal distinctions lies a vibrant discourse on the virtues and perceived dangers of breastfeeding. Some argue it strengthens the mother's bond with her child. Others suggest wet nursing offers children the vitality found in a healthy substitute mother. The debate often walks the fine line between genuine observation and myth-bound superstition, reflecting a society grappling with understanding the factors influencing an infant's well-being. The medical texts of the period, penned by learned hands in scriptoriums and translated from ancient sources, offer guidance for mothers debating the merits of breastfeeding. These documents wade into debates over its influence on the child's temperament and intellect, suggesting dietary changes for nursing mothers, hinting at an early awareness of the mother's nutrition's impact on breast milk. Historians still discuss how much influence these texts had on daily practice, considering how tradition and family advice frequently held equal sway. Interestingly, wet nurses occupy a paradoxical space in this debate. Accused of imparting their traits through their milk on the one hand, their services nevertheless remain in high demand, valued for the health and sustenance they offer to children from various walks of life. The role of the wet nurse signifies an adaptable, if sometimes criticized, function within the societal structure, giving rise to bonds that both underpin and defy societal norms. Despite varying practices, the essence of providing for a child's needs resonates through every strata. The emotional thread that ties mothers, whether directly nursing or through another's milk, is one of commitment to their offspring's survival and thriving. This enduring connection exemplifies an eternal love blooming within a world beset by challenges and changes, a vivid assertion that in every flow of time, maternal bonds remain indelibly strong. As you delve into this aspect of medieval maternity, consider how the debates and practices surrounding breastfeeding reflect the ongoing balance between cultural expectation, necessity, and the love that drives parental choice. Shifting through the sands of time, these stories resonate with fulfillment, challenges, and profound dedication, mirroring the diverse paths forged by mothers in every age. In these tales of medieval life, may you find whispers of reassurance, a reminder of the strength and adaptability inherent in mothering. These layered narratives, intricately woven into the rich tapestry of human experience, continue to remind us that while methods may evolve, the core essence of nurturing remains timeless. As you cradle these reflections in the quiet chamber of the mind, let them drift softly into ongoing contemplation. In the medieval landscape, where the contours of the past rise and fall like the hills beyond a castle fort, the role of education stands as a crucial pillar in the understanding and practice of childbirth. Imagine a time when knowledge was both elusive and prized, a tapestry of inherited wisdom and nascent scholarship that quietly determined the course of maternal health. Here, education, or its absence, cast long shadows over the expectations and experiences of childbirth. Picture a medieval village surrounded by the gentle hum of daily life. Amidst the chatter and cadence of chores, the quiet exchange of knowledge takes on a profound significance. Often, educational opportunities vary sharply by gender and class. For many women, especially peasant women, much of what they know about childbirth and child rearing is gathered through oral tradition, a shared quilt of stories, observations, and hands-on experience woven together by the communal fabric of female kin and neighbours. The knowledge passed along these familial and neighbourly lines consists of practical techniques for easing labour, the preparation of herbal remedies, and the rituals believed to protect both mother and child. Each lesson is imbued with the wisdom of generations, nurturing a foundation upon which new mothers lean for comfort and guidance. Mothers teach daughters, and these teachings form a continuum that enriches the community's maternal lineage. Step into the more structured world of scholarly learning, where the role of education takes an intriguing turn. In monastic libraries and scriptoriums, enclaves of preserved knowledge, medical texts expand the realm of understanding for those able to access them. Here, in dim light cast by flickering candles, scholars transcribe and compile works on childbirth, drawing from both domestic experiences and translated classics from other civilizations. The integration of Greco-Roman, Arabic, and early medieval medical knowledge transforms the understanding of childbirth, despite limitations. Texts by authors such as Soranus of Ephesus and Avicenna become guiding lights, their written pages offering progressive ideas for the period. These texts influence midwives and herbalists who manage to glean insights from scribes or rare opportunities to learn from literate physicians. However, educational access within medieval society is constricted by boundaries of class and gender. While sons of wealthier families may gain formal schooling in literacy and numeracy, daughters usually receive domestic instruction, barring access to directly engage with these medical texts. Women largely depend on indirect routes to education, absorbing knowledge from those around them who have been informally educated. For noblewomen and those in need of specialized help, education can sometimes afford a different lens. Noble births provide a platform where informed attendants and healers, versed in the latest knowledge, gather. Some noble women take the initiative to learn from these practitioners, becoming unofficial custodians of knowledge within their households, bridging the gap between scholarship and application. Despite their disparities, these varied forms of education, and lack thereof, echo through the medieval birthing experience. They determine the approach taken by midwives or family matriarchs, reflecting in everything from the herbs selected as remedies to the cares offered in postnatal recovery. Yet even in the presence of scant resources, the underlying pursuit of understanding remains a pursuit, reflected in both casual teachings and formal writings. Historians still argue whether medieval education on childbirth measurably improved outcomes, yet the importance of education as a tool for empowerment remains undeniable. In the stories exchanged among women, and through the scribes' inked words, builds a mosaic resilient and robust, fused by the fundamental human desire to care and know. Now, as shadows lengthen and you tread softly away from this exploration, consider how the threads of education in medieval times continue to weave into the present. The lessons of the past, though filtered through knowing touches and quiet traditions, still resonate deeply. In their whispers, we hear the undying call to adapt and grow, a legacy of learning winding like golden threads through the modern understanding of birth and beyond. As you let these thoughts dissolve into the stillness around you, let them inspire a gentle embrace of the continuous dance between wisdom known and knowledge sought. As we traverse further into this historical tapestry, let us pause to contemplate the enduring legacy of medieval childbirth practices. The echoes of these practices resonate through the corridors of time, influencing the evolution of midwifery and maternal health in ways that remain tangible today. we find ourselves in a space where tradition meets transformation, where the wisdom of ages past quietly informs modern understandings of life's most miraculous undertaking. Envision a thread stretching through time, connecting the dimly lit birthing chambers of medieval villages and manors with the sterile, brightly lit delivery rooms of today. This thread is woven with the experiences and insights gathered through the centuries, an unbroken chain of maternal resilience, learning, and hope. It is a reminder that, for all our advancements, the fundamental essence of childbirth remains a testament to the enduring strength and courage of women. One aspect of this legacy lies in the enduring practices of midwifery, a field that has evolved profoundly over time, yet still retains roots firmly planted in its medieval origins. In medieval Europe, midwives were more than just attendants. They were the bearers of collective wisdom, combining intuition and empirical knowledge in equal measure. Today's midwifery continues to echo this tradition, prioritizing personalized care, empathy, and a holistic approach to childbirth that honors both scientific advancements and individual experiences. Similarly, the influence of herbal medicine, a prominent feature of medieval childbirth, has witnessed a renaissance in contemporary holistic health approaches. Once sidelined as superstition, many of these ancient remedies now find validation in modern herbal and alternative medicine practices. For example, the calming properties of chamomile and the digestive benefits of fennel, both staples of medieval life, continue to find favor in today's pursuit of natural wellness. As we delve deeper into this legacy, we must also acknowledge the lessons learnt from history's mistakes. The superstitions and misunderstandings of medieval times underscore the importance of science and evidence-based practice in modern healthcare. The stories of trial and error, of courage and tragedy, form a poignant reminder of the path we have travelled and the progress we have achieved. Historians still debate the exact impact of medieval practices on contemporary childbirth, yet there is no doubt that they serve as crucial stepping stones in an expansive journey toward the present. They offer us insights into the resilience of women, the evolution of societal structures, and the ever-present drive to improve and refine the practices surrounding birth. In these reflections, we recognize that the legacy of medieval childbirth is more than the sum of its parts. It is a rich tapestry of human experience, woven from the intermingled threads of cultural norms, medical knowledge, and personal stories. It is a legacy that speaks to the shared human endeavor to bring life into the world safely and with dignity. As night descends over our exploration, let these thoughts guide you toward a harmonious recognition of the past's contributions to the present. Let the stories of medieval childbirth, a mosaic of courage, compassion, and innovation, illuminate the ongoing journey of maternal care, inviting you to celebrate the progress forged through time. May this legacy inspire a renewed appreciation for the intricate dance between history and modernity, as well as the profound continuity of human experience. As you rest in this peaceful understanding, allow the echoes of history to fade gently, cradling you in a sense of connection to the long line of those who have come before, each contributing to the eternal story of life's creation. As our journey through the intricacies of medieval childbirth comes to a serene close, we take a moment to reflect on the echoes of the past that have shaped our present understanding of life's grand threshold. In this space of contemplation, let us wander through a gentle landscape where the stories and practices of yore weave into a soft tapestry that comforts and reassures. In the fading light of this exploration, we revisit birthing chambers alive with the flicker of candlelight, where midwives and mothers braved uncertainty with courage. The shadows on their walls were once symbols of fear, yet also bore the tender silhouettes of community, commitment, and continuity, a testament to the human capacity to create hope amidst hardship. These echoes remind us how each generation changes the narrative of fear into a lullaby of hope. Let yourself drift further into these stories, where ancient herbs are sprinkled as if by magic, and whispered chants offer solace against the daunting mystery of birth. Though time has since unveiled many of these mysteries through science, the soft hum of past practices persists as a gentle whisper on the wind, encouraging us to cherish the essence of care handed down through generations. Through each section of our exploration, you have walked alongside figures who dared much with scant resources, a poignant echo that underscores the progress achieved and, more crucially, the timelessness of maternal strength. This legacy is not just relics scattered in time. It is the beating heart of heritage, a rich foundation of knowledge that nourish us as we advance. As we let these thoughts slowly dissolve like mist in the dawn, we find ourselves wrapped in a deep calm. The echoes of medieval wisdom weave seamlessly into our lives, their narratives a reminder that life's continuum is braided with love and resilience. Here and now, the stories of those medieval women breathe a timeless cadence, a gentle lull that comforts and envelops us. And so, dear traveller, as you settle into the soothing cadence of rest, let the lessons of this journey cradle you. Allow the weight of history to ease into the background, finding peace in the stories of survival, courage, and nurturing that span centuries. The long night stretches softly around you, and with it, a sense of peaceful continuity, a whisper of dreams and restful nights stretching from the past towards the future. Here, let these comforting thoughts linger as you close your eyes. Life is a story, endless and ever-changing, and you are part of its living, breathing tapestry. Greater than, end of script, sweet dreams.